Right.
Nice. So tell me about Healing Hands. This is, again, as I said, I've listened to a lot of projects, and this one really stood out.
Oh, thank you. Healing Hands is the CD that came out of my experience going through breast cancer. I was diagnosed in late March of this year and had surgery and went through radiation. Thank goodness I did not have to do chemo. I had a wonderful surgeon who got everything. And these pieces, all the pieces on this CD are actually improvisations. They're all the pieces that came out at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning when I couldn't sleep. And I was going through all of the myriad of emotions that you go through with cancer of any kind.
Wow.
You know, the denial, the disbelief, the shock, the fear, the all of those things. That's what came out on this CD.
Wow.
And my vision for the CD was to get it into the hands of every woman who will walk this road behind me. It's written in honor or dedicated to the wonderful medical team that got me through.
Wow.
Dr. Brown and Jennifer, his assistant Jennifer Conkey, were there for me every step of the way.
Wow.
And so I want to get it into the hands of every woman who will walk this road so that when she's up at 2 and 3 in the morning and can't sleep, maybe these pieces will help see her through because that's what got me through.
Nice. And by the way, a body of your work is on the chemotherapy headphones because it's just beautiful. And you have me you had cancer diagnosed in March. And you already have the CD out, and here it's taken me years to put together a CD. I guess you're motivated, right?
I was very motivated, and all of the pieces came out. And of course, being breast cancer, I wanted it to come out in October, which is Breast Cancer Month. And thankfully, my wonderful husband, Buddy, was on board with that.
Buddy, nice work.
Yeah. And he was on board with that, and I was able to, as a matter of fact, he set the recording up.
Wow.
And got the ball rolling.
Nice. And you recorded on Philip Wesley's Steinway piano.
I did.
That's a smoking piano.
It is a smoking piano.
Wow.
And I recorded at Philip's house, and Alex Carter was my engineer, phenomenal engineer here in the Nashville area.
Nice.
And then we took all of those tracks and sent them off to Doug Hammer of Dream World Productions, and he did all of the orchestration and all of that, and all the mixing and mastering. I think I found my dream team.
Oh, yeah.
Between Philip's piano and Alex and Doug, I mean, you don't get any better.
The sound was notable. I really mean that. And the playing, you'll see with Cathy, she doesn't overplay. It's breathing and it's emotion, and it's really cool. So I'm just thrilled you're here and that you've been such a brave woman to walk through what you've done. My sister passed from breast cancer, so I really think this is a cool project.
Ladies, 3D every time. Just saying. That's what found mine. If I had not had a 3D mammogram, they would not have found it, and we would be having a whole different conversation.
Well, I'm
3D every time.
3D, and I'm glad you're here. I really am.
Thank you.
So let me get out of your way. I'm just going to move these chairs out of the way because you have a special guest.
I do.
All right, and you get warmed up on the piano, and it's so nice to see you here.
Thank you.
Cathy Oakes, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank
All
you.
right. All right, it's all yours.
I'm so excited to be here tonight, and this CD is so incredibly close to my heart. It is the very most inner part of me. It's very emotional. I'll just tell you a little story about when I recorded it. I recorded the CD in about, I think probably about 5 hours one afternoon. And of course, I wrote these pieces during the whole 5 months that I was going through surgery and treatment and all of that. And then when I went to record them, it was like living that entire 5 months in 5 hours. It was the most emotionally overwhelming thing I have ever lived through. I finished recording and I got home and all I could do is sit and stare at the wall. And it took me about 2 days to be able to do anything again. I was just, there was nothing left in me. I could not have recorded one more note if my life had depended on it. But this is, I'm going to play 4 pieces tonight that are from this CD. The first piece I'm going to play is called Healing Hands. It's the title track. It was written for Dr. John Brown and Jennifer Conkey, his assistant. I came home from a particularly difficult procedure at their office one day, and they held my hand through the whole thing and got me through, as they did every time. And I'm so thankful for the healing in their hands. And so I sat down at my piano and I wrote this piece and dedicated it to them. And part of my vision for this CD was to show the relationship between the healing in the hands of the doctor, the healing in the hands of the nurse, and the healing power of music, and what those 3 can do together. I'm going to be joined by a special guest tonight. I'm so thankful for Eric Bakalis, who is just a phenomenal musician, both keyboardist and, are you a flutist or a flautist?
I'm a flutist.
Okay, he's a flutist. And very, very talented. And these pieces are orchestrated on the CD, and Eric has graciously agreed to join me tonight to give them a little more flavor. And so this first piece is Healing Hands. Thank you. Dr. Brown and Jennifer, if you're watching, that one was for you. You guys are the best. During the time that I was going through treatment, I did not sleep well at all. I'm not a good sleeper anyway. I'm very bad at that. Sleep's a waste of time. But I did not sleep well at all. And I would sit up in the recliner in our guest room hours and hours and hours during the night. And I am a person of faith. I grew up in the church. I grew up on the old hymns of the church. When I was a little girl, my grandmother we lived next door to my grandmother, and I was terrified of loud noises, and like thunder and that sort of thing. And when I would get scared, I would run next door to Granny. And Granny always sat in her rocking chair, and she would gather me up on her lap and rock me and sing hymns to me. And so hymns are more than just a foundation of my faith. For me, they're like a security blanket because they comfort me. And so when I would be up in the wee hours of the night, I would be playing hymns in the background, and I would be reading the Word. And those times of solitude became my lifeline. They became what got me through. And solitude can be a bad thing, but it can also be a very good thing. And so during those times when it was just God and me, I would wrap myself in that security blanket of the hymns and the Word, and I would find my peace and my comfort in those things. And so this next piece is called Blanket of Solitude. Thank you. The next piece I actually wrote before I had a title for it. I knew it had to do with hope. Even in the midst of the darkest times, I knew there was hope. First of all, Dr. Brown assured me that he was going to get me through this, and I trust that man literally with my life. He saved it more than once. And so I trusted him in that. But the other comfort that I had, and the most important thing, was that I knew that God was going to be with me every step. And that however this went, I was safe in the arms of my Savior. And so I went to visit my son. Adore her, Michael and Kristen, and I was sitting on the sofa with her after I had just played this piece, and she picked up her Bible and she started reading to me from the book of Hebrews, where it talks about we have an anchor of hope, that Jesus is our anchor of hope that will hold us steadfastly. We don't have to be tossed by the storms of life. They can come and they can go, but we have an anchor to hold us fast. And she read that verse to me, and she said, that piece is called Anchor of Hope. And so it is. And this is Anchor of Hope. Thank you, Eric. What a talent this man is, I'm telling you. He amazes me all the time. And he's just always the nicest guy ever, too. I mean, you know, he just is. I have a confession to make. I am a control freak. I am. And I want to be in control of everything. And I don't want to know what's happening 15 minutes from now, or a day from now, or a week from now. I want to know what's happening 10 years from now. I have zero patience. Hush, buddy. And I want to be in control of everything. And the most difficult thing for me about the journey through breast cancer was when I finally had to come to the point where I realized I truly had no control over what was happening in my body. I remember talking to Dr. Brown or jotting him a note when we first began our journey together through this treatment, and I remember very arrogantly saying to him, I will be in control. Spoken obviously out of a place of total ignorance. And bless his heart, he's the kindest man. He didn't say to me, boy, are you dumb. He just said, okay. And he let me think that I was going to be in control. It was not until after the surgery and the radiation for me were just a piece of cake. It was no big deal. Got through them, no problem. Later on, a couple of months later, we went on a cruise, and on the cruise ship, I got a strep B infection. It's an infection of opportunity, and it will go to the weakest point of your body. And it did. And so I came home very, very sick. I ended up in the hospital on IV antibiotics. I truly thought I was going to die on the cruise ship. I was that sick. And I kept thinking, if I can get home to Dr. Brown, he'll fix this. But I didn't know that I was going to make it. But I did get home, and Dr. Brown did fix it. And he had to do surgery again and reopen everything. And I walked around with an open incision for, gosh, about 2 months, a little more than 2 months. And we had to keep it open to keep that infection from settling in there again. And it was during that time, I had done everything I knew to do. I had done everything right. Dr. Brown had done everything right. The hospital had done everything right. And yet here I was. And every time I thought I had beaten it, there it was, rearing its ugly head again. And it was so frustrating. It was the one time during my entire treatment that I cried, because I was simply so frustrated. It was the only time, I think, that I ever shed tears. And I was so frustrated. And it was during that time that I realized that I simply had no control. I simply had none. And it was in the wee hours of the morning that I was facing another procedure with Dr. Brown the next day. And in the wee hours of the morning, I sat down at my piano, realizing that I had absolutely no control. And I poured it out on the keyboard. And this is exactly what came out. I did no rewrites on this whatsoever. It's exactly the way I poured it out that night. It was the most difficult piece I have ever written, because it came from such a deep place. It's a pretty hard piece to play too, but I'm going to do it. And the name of this piece is Letting Go. Thank you. Thank you. Well, Ed said that if we had time at the end of tonight's concert, do we have time, Ed?
Yes, we do.
All right. Ed said that we could do some Christmas pieces because, like, it's Christmas. So let's do that. I am, this Christmas is different for me, I guess. Having cancer changes you. It changes everything about you. It changes the way you look at everything. And that's not a bad thing. It's a very good thing. It makes you appreciate everything. It makes you rearrange your priorities and decide what's really important in life. And so this Christmas is different for me just because I'm so thankful to be here. And I'm thankful to be completely healed. And I'm so thankful for all the people who have the healing touch who helped me through my journey. Joanne, Dr. Brown, Jennifer, all the women at the Women's Center. I mean, just, I can't say enough good things about them. So if you're watching tonight, I love you all. And so we're going to celebrate. How's that? Yay! So, Eric, you want to do Winter Wonderland? Sure. We're going to be in E flat. How's that? We'll end on a fun note. All right? All right. So, here we go. Ready? I'm doing that verse thing at the beginning.
Oh, band.
That was fun.
Wow, Cathy Oakes, ladies and gentlemen. Eric Bikalis also.
Woo!
These guys are good. Wow, thank you both for being here. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Cathy,
Thank you
come
so
here.
much.
I've got to tell you, we've done River of Calm shows for almost coming up on 2 years. And I've got to say, you've witnessed an authentic moment coming from her heart here, and the music was beautiful. I have friends across the country saying it gives them chills.
Aw.
And you've got this one right on the head. You've
Thank
hit
you.
this well.
Thank you.
So we're glad you're here, and Eric Bikalis, but you're going to be here with me. I know you like control, so we're going to control this ending together, okay? So I want to thank our general manager for Miller Piano, Sherry Carlisle Smith, in her outfit
AKA
tonight.
Frosty.
Thank you so much. Chris McCorkle from Black Diamond Culinary. Gus Lux, our audio guy. I'm going to tell you, this Facebook audio stuff is just like the Rubik's Cube of audio. I'm not kidding you. It sounds great here. Gus is an amazing audio guy. And then it's voodoo in between there somewhere. But he's in there swinging away, and we appreciate that. And Dakota Smith helping us on our video. This is a team effort at the River of Calm. I also know you want to thank people out there listening and watching, including Deborah Sheridan from Wales.
Oh, yay!
How about that?
Thank you.
Nancy Living from my hometown of Huntington, West by God, Virginia.
All right.
Yeah. Jane
Go.
Villalobos was watching too, Villalobos. And then pianist-wise from the River of Calm, Shoshana.
Shauna, hi, Shoshana.
Michelle says hi.
Hi,
Michelle
Michelle.
McLaughlin. Marlo Caruth.
Hi, Marlo.
And Christy Stills
Hi,
are watching.
Christy.
So thank you all so much. Again, like and share, like and share. The River of Calm. We're all here together. And so thank you all so much. Have a happy holidays. I'm Ed Basil, and may the calm be with you. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Thank you.
You're stunningly beautiful.
Thank you.